Welcome to Whispers After Dark, where eerie tales come to life. Tonight, we delve into a mystery that has haunted families and investigators for decades. The disappearance of the Sodder children, a story shrouded in smoke, whispers, and unanswered questions. If you enjoy true crime, mysteries, and urban legends, make sure you subscribe, like this video, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss our upcoming stories. Now, let's get into the unsolved 1945 mysterious disappearance of the Sodder children. It was Christmas Eve, 1945, in the quiet town of Fayetteville, West Virginia. The Sodder family, made up of George and Jenny Sodder, Italian immigrants who had built a life for themselves in America, and 9 of their 10 children, gathered in their home to celebrate the holiday season. Good food and conversation around the dinner table and a warm fire glowing in the fireplace made for a pleasant evening. Children's laughter and joy filled the house in anticipation of what Christmas morning would bring. As the clock ticked past the younger children's bedtime, Jenny sent them upstairs to bed, while the older ones lingered, enjoying the last moments of Christmas Eve. Around 12:30 a.m., the house fell into a peaceful slumber. However, this tranquility would soon be shattered. A strange phone call rang through the house at around 12:45 a.m. Jenny, still awake, answered. A woman's voice, unfamiliar and eerie, asked for a name Jenny did not recognize. In the background, laughter and clinking glasses echoed. Jenny dismissed it as a prank call and went back to bed, but something felt off. The house was silent, yet she noticed the lights were still on, and the door was strangely unlocked. Shrugging off the unease, she turned everything off and retired for the night. Then, just after 1 a.m., disaster struck. Smoke began to fill the house, and within minutes, flames erupted. George, Jenny, and 4 of their children, Marion, Sylvia, John, and George Jr., managed to escape the inferno. But 5 other children, Maurice, age 14, Martha, age 12, Louis, age 10, Jenny, age 8, and Betty, age 5, were trapped inside. George attempted to re-enter the house, but the flames were too intense. Desperate, he tried to use a ladder that was always kept by the side of the house, only to find it missing. He then attempted to use his trucks to climb back into the burning home, but neither vehicle would start, despite having functioned perfectly the previous day. Combined with failed first calls to alert the fire department, it was as if fate or something more sinister had conspired against them. It only took about 45 minutes for the Sodder 2-story wood frame home to be reduced to smoldering ruins. But amidst the ashes, an unsettling mystery emerged. No skeletal remains of the missing children were ever found. The fire department, hampered by wartime shortages and a delayed response, arrived at the scene late in the morning on Christmas Day. The official cause of the fire was ruled as faulty wiring, yet the house had recently undergone electrical work, and the Christmas lights had remained on even as the fire raged. Experts claimed that the fire had burned too hot and too long for bones to survive. Yet this contradicted scientific studies and past house fires where remains had always been recoverable. Even small household fires leave behind identifiable bones. How could a fire lasting only 45 minutes completely erase all traces of 5 human bodies? George Sodder owned a trucking company in Fayetteville, West Virginia. Their home was a couple of miles outside of the town, and the family were said to have been well-respected members of the community. However, George Sodder had strong political opinions. It is thought he made some enemies in town. A vocal critic of Mussolini and fascism, he had received threats from other Italian Americans who resented his views. Had someone acted on those threats? The Sodders, devastated from the loss of their children and confused by the fire and police reports, began to suspect that something far more sinister had taken place. They believed someone had deliberately started the fire. The 5 children's death certificates were issued soon after the fire on December 30th. Jenny and George were too distraught to attend their children's funeral on January 2nd. However, the surviving children did, yet there were no bodies to bury that day. In the days following the fire, the missing ladder was found about 75 feet away from its normal spot at the bottom of an embankment. Soon, strange reports began to surface that made the Sodders question if their children had actually perished in the fire. Were the children able to make it out of the house on their own unseen and taken? Or were they taken from the home prior to the fire? Could this be why his trucks wouldn't start and the ladder was missing? And why didn't the phones work when they tried to call the fire department? So many questions with no real answers. A witness claimed to have seen a man cutting the telephone lines leading to the Sodder house before the fire broke out. Another person reported seeing a mysterious vehicle parked near the home late that night. Even more chilling, a local woman later claimed she had seen the missing Sodder children being driven away in a car that very night. The family began to believe the children had actually been abducted before the fire. It was hard to dismiss claims as false when they desperately wanted to find out the truth about their children. A peculiar phone call received by the Sodders weeks before the fire added another layer to the mystery. A man, speaking with a thick accent, had asked George if he would be interested in purchasing life insurance for his children. When George declined, the man reportedly said, "Your house will go up in smoke, and your children will be destroyed." The family had also noticed a strange man watching their home in the days leading up to the fire. When confronted, he vanished. Coincidence or a calculated threat? George and Jenny Sodder refused to believe their children had perished in the flames. Clinging to hope, they erected a billboard along Route 40, displaying photos of the missing children and offering a reward for information. The amount was eventually raised to $5,000. They pursued every lead, hiring private investigators, traveling across the country, and even reaching out to the FBI for help. Years later, a woman swore she had seen the children in a Charleston hotel, accompanied by two unknown men and a woman. In 1967, a letter arrived in the mail. Inside the envelope, they found a photograph of a young man resembling Louis Sodder. On the back of the photo, they found a cryptic message that contained his name. The message, "I love Brother Frankie," and some indecipherable letters and numbers. The family was stunned. Had Louis survived? Was this proof the children had been taken? Despite their efforts, they could never trace the sender. The Sodder case remains one of the most perplexing unsolved mysteries in American history. The lack of physical evidence, coupled with the suspicious circumstances, has fueled countless theories. George and Jenny spent everything searching and following every lead, no matter how insignificant, trying to find their children. However, their wait was in vain. No real trace of the children was ever found. Some believe the children perished in the fire, their remains destroyed in an inexplicable phenomenon. Others insist they were kidnapped, possibly as part of a human trafficking ring or revenge plot, and taken out of the country. Theories range from organized crime involvement to government cover-ups. In 1969, after years of searching, George Sodder passed away, never knowing the fate of his children. Jenny, until her final days, refused to let go of hope. She kept the porch light on every night, waiting for their return until her passing in 1989. The billboard bearing a family's plea for answers was finally removed after her death. The story of the Sodder children is a chilling reminder of the uncertainties that can haunt us. A Christmas Eve celebration turned into a nightmare, leaving a family shattered and a community in disbelief. The flames that fateful night consumed not only a house, but also the truth, leaving behind a legacy of unanswered questions. What do you think happened to the Sodder children? Were they victims of the fire? Or was a darker force at play? If they were alive, Why didn't they try to contact their family when they became adults? Let us know your theories in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. If you enjoyed the story, then smash that like button and subscribe to help us grow our channel. If there is a story or historical mystery you would like us to consider, please leave it down below in the comment section. Please leave us a comment and tell us where you are from. We would love to hear from you. You can also drop us an email. We will do our best to respond. It is listed in the details below.